Hey everyone, welcome to episode 10 of the Identity Love podcast. I'm Tracy Konane. I'm a life coach and identity specialist for folks who have lost themselves in relationships, in life, and don't know who they are anymore. So I help you not only find and be yourself, but to enjoy and love being yourself so you don't have to rely on everybody else to feel good. So today I'm going to be talking about what it means to be attracted to yourself, to have your own attraction, to be attracted to who you are. And I touched upon this concept in episode 3, but I really wanted to explain this in this one because I feel like it is so important for us partner pleasers, people pleasers, to wrap our minds around this and understand exactly what's going on, because this is such a huge driving factor in everything we're doing and why we're struggling. It is so important to know how to attract yourself. And here's the definition that I found online. Attracted means to pull or draw someone or something towards them by the qualities they have, especially good ones. Okay, so it's to pull or draw someone or something towards you because of the qualities, the good qualities you have. So we know this. This is why we're attracted to our partners. This is why we're attracted to our muses. This is why we're attracted to the people that we think are super cool. It's not just about looks, right? Because even if you think you're attracted to somebody because of the way they look, think about how many attractive people there are out there in the world. And what is it about this specific one that you feel so drawn to? It's probably so much more than looks. And the reason why I'm bringing up this quality, this physical quality, is because when we think about ourselves being attractive, we often first think about the way that we look. How do we feel about our face, our bodies, our age, our physical attractiveness? That's what we usually think about because it is predominant in our culture to focus on that as being attractive. That's what attractiveness is defined as. Usually. So that's why I wanted to really bring to your attention that it is a set of qualities that something has, especially good ones, right? You can be attracted to the cover of a book. You can be attracted to an idea. You can be attracted to a personality trait or the way certain colors fit together, right? Attraction is you just drawn to something and you just like it because of certain qualities that it has. I talked about my great aunt Lois as being one of my cool people. She's one of my muses. She looked just like any of my old relatives, but I was drawn to her. I wanted to talk to her, to be around her. She made me feel good being around her. I was attracted because of her particular set of qualities. A lot of times people think about finding ourselves attractive as sounding kind of vain or superficial, as a superficial goal, and that it only has to do with appearances, and that's not what it is. This is about being attracted to who you are as a person, just like how I can find my aunt attractive, right? So that's what I mean when I use the word attractive. And notice that it feels effortless. You just like something versus you being told, hey, you better like your aunt. You better go and hug and kiss your aunt, that aunt over there, whom I don't really feel that attracted to or like that much, but you're pretending to hug them and like them. That is what we've been doing most of our lives, going through life, trying to convince ourselves that the most attractive version of us, the person that we feel most attracted to being, is this person that likes and does and is certain ways of being that we're not naturally feeling predisposed to being. We're not actually attracted to those things. For example, for a long time, I thought I had to learn how to be amazingly good at first-person shooter video games. That's because all the people that I hung out with and the partners that I had were all gamers. And I felt like the coolest version of myself would be someone who's an amazing gamer girl and who could kick it with all the dudes. And that would make my boyfriends love me more and whatever. And I put a lot of pressure on myself for that. And it was only afterwards that I realized I don't even want that. When I think about my coolest self on my own, when it has something to do with my partner, I don't think she's playing a lot of video games all the time. She doesn't have the goal of being an amazing first-person shooter video game player. It was only just to attract in a warm approval kind of way what other people were thinking and feeling about me. And I wasn't actually attracted to that, which is why I never got good at it, because whenever I tried to play it and practice playing these video games, I actually didn't like it. I had to force myself to try and get into it. Even though I felt like I wanted to be good at it, my true self didn't actually want that because she didn't enjoy it enough to put all the time and effort into playing that. And so what happens when that happens is the opposite of attraction, which is repelling. So the repelling definition is to keep something out or away, to cause aversion, to push away, to avert something. And so this is what we're doing to ourselves when we only have one version of our attractiveness, which is made up of what everybody else wants, and we're trying so hard to be that, thinking that we're going to become our most attractive selves once we achieve that. But in doing so, we are averting ourselves. We are pushing ourselves away from ourselves and making ourselves do all these things that we don't like doing and we don't actually feel that cool and aligned with doing. And we're waiting for ourselves to feel self-love towards ourselves, even though we're just spending our whole time and lives pushing ourselves away from what we're actually attracted to. And so I want you to think about who you actually become when you're trying so hard to be attractive to everybody else, right? Attractive in a likable way. You're trying so hard not to repel everybody. You're trying to attract people to you. So you have the validation and you feel good, right? But who do you actually become when you're trying to do that? For me, I get resentful. I kind of clam up sometimes because I'm starting to overanalyze stuff and start to judge myself. I get a little moody because I end up doing things that I don't really agree with or like. And then if people aren't giving me the validation back that I feel like I deserve for putting myself out there so much, I get moody about that. I end up keeping my feelings in for too long. And then it all comes out and I make a big deal out of seemingly nothing because nobody even knew that it was a big deal because I kept it all in. And I become kind of catty. If I'm envious or jealous of somebody, I try to control the situation and try to make myself seem better or feel better by saying certain things about people or getting judgmental and trying to manage the situation about how people feel about me. There's all these different things that start happening against my will when I'm trying so hard to just be attracted to someone else. And oftentimes that's when my social anxiety comes up. That's when I realize, oh my God, I don't know what to say. Oh my God, why did I say that? Why am I being so awkward? It's because I'm overanalyzing and trying so hard to say the right things and trying to be exactly what these people want and need of me. And I am not actually being myself because I'm so caught up. So notice all these traits that come up. And when I thought about this, I was like, okay, that makes total sense now of why I'm not attracted to myself. I'm actually repulsed by the way that I am acting and treating myself. I was just put off by my own personality, my own traits. We have to look at what it is to start to attract ourselves back. You don't just change things overnight. You have to earn your trust again. And so I understood that I needed to start small. There was no way I could just start hugging myself and repeating, I love myself. I think I'm amazing. When deep down inside, I didn't think that at all. So I had to earn my own self-attraction back. And the way I did that was to look and think about, what is it that would attract this person? What would be attractive to this person who is me? What is she attracted to? Does she like this catty person who is trying so hard to just impress everyone else that she doesn't even care about how I think and feel? Of course not. If I'm going to be with myself, I want to be with somebody who gives me attention. who cares about how I feel about things, who puts her own preferences before what someone may or may not think or feel about my preferences. I would want to be with somebody who cares about my well-being, who dresses and presents herself in a way that feels good to her. That's who I want to be with. I want to be with someone who supports me. Somebody who cares about my own interests and preferences and says, hey, this is important. We're going to do this. We're going to get to experience what it's like to do the things that we actually feel attracted and drawn to. So it's interesting because attraction, when we're attracting ourselves, we are allowing ourselves to be attracted to the things that we actually feel attracted to. Us people pleasers, partner pleasers, we know that we don't want to restrict our partners. We don't want to tell our partners, hey, don't be into that thing that you love. We want them to do that because we love them. We don't think they're weird for all their quirks and habits. We love them for it. And that's what I needed to do for me. I realized I do that for everyone else. And here I am, judging my quirks, judging myself for being weird, being afraid of what other people are going to think, to the point where I just don't do any of that at all. And I'm just this normalized, weird version of myself that I don't even like being. A lot of this is starting to recognize what feels good to yourself. Because even if we're not aware of it in the moment, when we do certain things, like we have an outfit that we really like, but then we text our friend and we find out that no one else there is sort of dressed like that. And so you say, never mind, I'm just going to wear this other thing. And it feels a little better in the moment because it's not as risky. But part of you is a little repelled from that if the version of yourself that you think is cool is the person who goes for it and shows up exactly like how she wants to. So a lot of this is, again, coming back to this version of your coolest self where you think about, instead of what the most attractive thing would be for everybody else in this moment, think about what your coolest self would do in this moment. It's kind of like how people have that "what would Jesus do" bracelet on. What would your coolest self do in this moment? And to use that as your judgment, as your role model, as your inspiration for everything that is going on in your life. As we go out into our lives, we are going to feel like we are thinking about what other people want and need. We're going to think about what they prefer. We are going to feel the anxiety and stress of, oh my God, what are they thinking right now? Am I doing this wrong? Blah, blah, blah. Am I saying the right thing? Are they taking this the wrong way? We are going to do that. Let it be that way. Don't judge yourself for it. Don't try to get rid of that. What to do instead is to also bring in this new thing where you also think, wait a minute, what do I think and feel? What would my coolest self do in this situation? And to imagine this other version of yourself, this other possibility of yourself going through this life and living it in a different way. So you see that you have a different option available to you than just the people-pleasing urges. Okay, so the coolest self is meant to guide you through and away from the urges of the people-pleasing and to keep you on track with being true to you. So I'm going to give some real-life examples just so you can start to generate some ideas of your own. So in the beginning, I had several different iterations of blogs and websites, and I was trying to find my voice and my coaching niche and all of that stuff. And I realized that I would have to start taking photos of myself because I didn't want my blog to just look like another generic blog that has the general photos, inspirational photos of nature or something that everybody puts on their blog. I thought, okay, I should put my own face on there. I should start to brand myself so people know who I am. I was like, okay, I can only take so many photos of myself around my house. This was back when Instagram was mostly photos. And I was like, all right, there's some cool places in LA that I go on walking out about all the time. And I'll just have my boyfriend snap some photos of me while we're out. But I noticed that when there was a cool backdrop like a graffiti wall or something, and I was going to tell my boyfriend, hey, do you think you could snap a few photos of me? Immediately, I would start to fixate, oh my goodness, what is he thinking of me? Is he thinking that I'm so vain that I want to just take photos of me? Is he thinking that I'm trying to be one of those influencers who just wants to have their picture everywhere? Is he thinking I'm a burden? Is he thinking that I'm being silly or like all these things came up about how he felt towards me. Was he still feeling attracted towards me? This was a problem because I would timidly take some photos and feel very awkward about it. And then afterwards try to act like, oh, thanks. I don't really care about these anyway, just to kind of act like, I don't know, like I'm not a vain influencer. And then it would just be this weird experience where I didn't want to do it again. And sometimes there'd be times where I didn't even ask because it felt like such a chore. It felt so uncomfortable for me to ask that I didn't have any photos for the blog. And I was upset. I was upset with myself. I found that I was not attracted to myself when I wasn't doing the thing that I told myself that I really wanted to do. I noticed I'm like, okay, it's not about him. I'm just preoccupied more with his attraction to me than my own attraction to me. So, what would my coolest self do? My most attractive, coolest self. What would she do in this situation? And I thought about it, and I'd be like, she'd just be super chill about it. She would know that she's not vain or shallow or trying to burden anybody, and that she just needs pictures of herself for her blog. And she'd be very chill about it. She'd find a nice spot, and she'd think, okay, I need this for my blog. She'd ask her boyfriend, can you please take these photos of me? And then she'd focus on what she would like the photo to look like. She wouldn't mind asking him, hey, do you think you could retake that? And then she'd say like, hey, thanks. I like this one. This one's good. Maybe we can try a different one later. And she wouldn't have all this worry about what someone else might be thinking about this thing that she herself wants. And at the end of the day, she would have all these photos and she would like herself because she went out and did what it is that she said she wanted to do. And I know that I find it attractive when people are out there being creative, doing things that express themselves and allowing themselves to be themselves out there in the world. And I wasn't doing that. And so that's why I didn't feel attractive. So do you see that it's not because of what he may or may not be thinking? It was because of how I was being. And I thought, oh, I just need more confidence. I just need to feel better about myself first, and then it'll feel easier for me to take photos. No, I got the confidence and the good feelings towards myself once I started to think more like my coolest self and allowed myself to take those photos in that way. And then I respected myself and was expressing myself, and I liked myself more. So do you see how it's this kind of weird thing that goes on in our brains where we think that we are going to feel better once we change how someone feels about us? If we preoccupy ourselves with trying to be concerned of how attracted someone else is to us, then we'll feel better and then we can do all the things. But it doesn't work that way. It's the other way around. So same with when I used to go clothes shopping. I used to have this bad habit of just going out and buying some cheap article of clothing for whatever it is that we're going to do on the weekend. And I would just buy it because I would think that, oh, people might think that I look more attractive in this. And it wasn't for my own tastes. It wasn't even if I liked the fabric or if I was going to wear it again or if I would have chosen that again in the future. It was just, ooh, is this going to make me more attractive maybe in the eyes of people this weekend? And that's how I would shop. I would just go out and buy these uncomfortable, terrible shoes and these uncomfortable, terrible dresses and tops and all kinds of stuff. And I would go out in it and I would feel the quick high of it. And then I'd take it home and never want to wear it again. And so I had this closet full of stuff that I chose for other people and not myself. And so when I had to go and open my closet and look at it, none of it made sense to me. And so who was I? I was somebody who was just spending her money haphazardly, choosing things that she doesn't even like herself, and filling up this closet of choices of things that just frustrate her and make no sense. And so, of course, I did not feel very attracted to that version of me. I was put off by that. And so I thought about my coolest self. What would she do in this situation? She would be picky and very concerned about what she likes. She wouldn't be all up in other people's heads and trying to impress them. She would be focused on feeling as good as possible because she's wearing clothes that fit her right. She loves the fabric. She took the time and effort to choose the perfect piece. And she would leave the store if she didn't find something that she actually loved and would wear over and over again. And listen, it took me a long time for me to leave my old mindset behind and to adjust into this new one because I was so deep in trying to just get everyone else's approval and validation. And so it felt so boring and so slow and so unfulfilling to go out and shop for quality things that I wanted that weren't just for a party night out. But when I slowly started to incorporate more of that into my life and learn from trial and error and not beat myself up if I started to go back to my old habits, but just notice, okay, when I'm doing this, I might sort of be attractive to other people, but I'm not feeling attractive to myself, so I'm not actually gaining anything in the end. I'm not actually gaining self-love or confidence or self-esteem. I'm just gaining external approval, which doesn't actually sink deeper into myself and actually turn into feeling good about myself on my own. And so over time, I had to really practice and work on it. And this is the thing that I also wanted to keep reiterating is that this self-love thing takes effort and discomfort and time and learning. I don't like how on social media, everything presents, as far as self-love is concerned, everything presents as beautiful and fun and easy and just hugging yourself, all these very pretty iterations of it. And yes, you can buy yourself flowers and get yourself manicures, and that is self-love too, especially if you've never treated yourself to that. So I'm not talking down to those things. I'm just saying that think about how much effort and discomfort and trying and attention we give to trying to be attractive to everyone else. We are already putting so much energy and effort into that we could stand to use that energy and effort and discomfort and the learning and the trial and error to figure out how to be super attractive to ourselves instead. And one final example is I've talked about it a lot in, I think, episode 8, where it's let your partner show you who they really are. I had been hurt in a previous relationship and I wasn't very trusting with this new partner who, on all accounts, seemed a lot healthier and a lot more trustworthy. But because I had all these inner wounds and suspicions, I was showing up in this relationship in a very distrustful, suspicious, jealous, overanalyzing way. And I thought, oh, if only he would just alleviate these things. If only he would confirm that I am attractive and that he wouldn't go out and do anything wrong, then I'll feel confident. Then I'll feel good about myself. But I was repelling myself by the way that I was acting towards him. I did not feel attractive to the way I was handling the situation. I did not feel good being suspicious and not giving him a chance and just automatically projecting all these things onto him. I did not feel any more attractive while doing that. And so no matter what he could have told me, it wouldn't have sunk deep into me and cured me of my insecurities. I was actually making it worse. And we need to see this. We need to clearly see how this is making it worse. And that we are not only making it worse for potentially our partners, but the way that we feel about ourselves. We are not allowing ourselves to have more self-love or attraction to ourselves. So I thought about my coolest self. How would she handle the situation without trying to change him, without trying to change my past, without trying to pretend that everything is fine and that I automatically trust again. And I thought, yeah, she'd just give him a chance. And she'd work on fortifying herself and keeping busy with things in her own life that give her her own purpose and make her feel good about herself, and not just put it all on him. She would be patient. She wouldn't just run out and go text him whenever she feels a certain way. She would take care of herself. She wouldn't be in denial about how she feels, but she'd be busy taking care of herself and journaling and maybe getting some coaching or some therapy. Or she'd be reading books about how to heal herself and not put it on someone else. And she would feel good about herself when she showed up in this way, even though she felt so uncomfortable, even when she felt her old tendencies popping up. She would take care of herself and encourage herself to be the person who is responsible for herself. And again, it was not easy, and I messed up a lot, if you call that messing up, but it gave me a new way of being. Instead of just thinking, oh my God, I just have to tolerate this now. I feel like I'm damaged goods now. I feel like I have no choice but to be this burden in this relationship. No, I was like, wait a minute. There's this whole other thing that I could do. I could take all my energy off of trying to figure out every single thing that's going on with him and trying to attract him and try to attract myself more. I was so much more attracted to myself when I was doing all the work and the things to care for myself, to heal myself, to be patient with myself, to start to expand myself in my own life and my own identity. I felt so much more attracted to that version of myself, which then was the final thing that actually started to heal my own insecurity and wounds while learning to trust him. Because yes, it had a lot to do with learning to trust someone else and letting them prove to me that they were trustworthy. But I had to show it to myself as well. I couldn't be going off repelling myself and just depending on someone else to show me that they are trustworthy. I had to attract myself as well. So then there's both sides. I am attracted to myself. And if he is attracted, then amazing, right? So do you see how we're so spread thin when we are only focused on attracting other people? Whether it's romantic or not, right? We just want people to like us. At the end of the day, the thing that changes everything is the way that we feel towards ourselves. The goal is to repel ourselves less and to attract ourselves more. It's not about being perfect. It is about doing little things each day and getting into the habit of, instead of saying, what should I do more to make them like me more? It's how can I find myself more attractive? Who do you want yourself to be? You want yourself to be honest, expressive, brave, stand up for themselves, have their own life, to do things that feel uncomfortable but feel good to you, to express yourself, expand. There's so many different things. When you are loving towards yourself, you naturally become more loving towards others because you're not so full of resentment and neediness. So I just wanted to say that when I was going through this at age 25, even though I was supposed to be my most attractive self, right, at that age, according to society, and I just turned 40 now, and I can say that I feel way more attracted to myself and attractive as myself than I was when I was 25. And it has so much more to do than just taking care of my looks and all of that. It is about the way that I'm living my life, who I am, how I treat myself, the little things I do for myself, and how I show up in the world. Even when I feel the urge to please others and care about what they think about me, I think about myself just as much and try to choose myself more over that. And I am way more concerned about how I feel about myself at the end of the day than I am about how everyone else feels about me, because I am seeing the benefits from it. You have to remind yourself that the benefit of doing all this is that you get to feel attracted to yourself, and you will finally have that missing piece. The missing piece of the self-love, the self-respect, the identity. This is getting your identity back. by paying attention to what you want to be, to stop repelling yourself, to stop abandoning yourself, and to bring the pieces of yourself back that you like, and to show yourself that there's someone in here who is worth loving and worth enjoying being. And this is the only way it's going to work. You cannot be repelling yourself and expect yourself to love yourself once everyone else loves you. It never ever worked that way. Even when I was 25 and surrounded by so much more friends than I ever thought I'd ever have, and I was living the life, and I was achieving the things, and I had the boyfriend that was showering me with compliments, I myself never truly felt attractive as myself. I still felt needy and hyper concerned about what everyone else was thinking, and I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. And now I do so much more than ever. And I want to take that into the future. As I get older, I want to continue to love myself more, to feel attractive of myself, because it's so much more than just the looks, right? It is who you are, who you get to be. I live in Hollywood. I've lived here for over 10 years, and I've worked with a lot of people who are really good looking and talented and seem to have it all together from the outside, but they do not love themselves. It is shocking. You would look at them and think that they have to, by default, love themselves, but they don't. They are just as insecure. They are just as frazzled and messed up and worried about how other people are thinking. And just because they look a certain way doesn't mean that they have all of that automatically. And so if you think that that's the only way it is, I want you to tell you that it's not that at all. I once thought that as well. It's not that. It doesn't matter what people are telling you. It doesn't matter what the ads are telling you or what social media is telling you. You see the women who have done a lot of plastic surgery and the Botox and everything, and they still don't seem like they've gotten to the place where they feel confident about themselves. They're still fretting about everything. And it is sad because you know that they're just trying to do it only from the outside. And I'm not saying that doing that and caring about the way you look is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you're only relying on that and you're only caring about that sort of attraction and you're not even attracted to yourself, you are going to constantly be repelled by who you are, and you're relying on that thing, that external thing, to make you feel attractive to yourself, but it never works. So if I sound like a broken record, I just want to say that this is what we need to hear. I know that I needed to hear this. And a lot of us feel blocked. I know that a lot of my clients, they're like, well, my partner's around all these beautiful people. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. Just being with someone else who is more beautiful than you doesn't mean that that's going to create more happiness and compatibility and attraction in someone else's life. And if your partner wants that, do you even want to be with somebody who would prefer to be with someone else just because they're more attractive on the outside? There's a lot more going on here than just what we think attractiveness is. So much more than what we are being fed in the media, in common thought and society. And so I just wanted to break that down and show what's going on inside of us when we are buying into this idea that we need to attract others and that we have to do it a certain way. Because once you start to be your weird, real, attractive to yourself self, you might start to repel certain people, but it's going to be the certain people that you were never that compatible with to begin with. Friends, family, whatever. This is a good thing. The more that you start to be who you feel attractive as, the more you're going to attract other people who are more like you and more compatible with you that you will feel good with, and you're going to have better relationships in your life. Because they're going to notice that you're being a certain way and they're going to like that. They're going to be attracted to that. But you have to be attracted to you first and bring that version out of you first so others can see it. And this is how it works. So it all centers around your own feelings toward yourself and how you are treating and presenting and being yourself. That is it. That's what it means to be attracted to yourself, is to like who you are, being pulled towards your own qualities. Again, I hope you do this in a year, an identity love year, transform the way that you feel about yourself, make sure that you know exactly who it is that you most want to be and to start being that person in your life so you can start feeling this as soon as possible and to make it permanent and lasting. All right. So this week, think about the little things that you could do that will earn little attractiveness points towards yourself, and to notice when you are doing things that are repelling you from yourself and making you not like yourself as much, and to remind yourself that attraction to yourself is the most important thing, because that's how you get all the other quality relationships in your life. Okay. I will talk to you next week. Have an amazing week. Bye.